slower in developing than girls.
Right.
And so we didn't pick out initially. So I think at around, we're about to turn 2, the girls, they were always just a week apart. Like she started walking, then a week later he started walking. And so when she started talking, we're like, it's going to come.
Right.
But slowly you're like, speech is not coming. And then the when we started noticing, he would cover his ears a lot.
Right.
So we thought he had an ear infection. Because again, this is very new to us. The older sister never had any of these issues. The twin girl also not having any of these issues. So the typical thing, go to Gertrude's, and they say, oh yeah, he has an ear infection.
Right.
They treat it, but the covering of the ears is not going away. The speech is not coming. And so you start asking yourself, okay, what's going on? So like, okay, it's just speech delay. You're told, oh, no, boys take a while to get speech. So let me tell you, I think I'm jumping ahead, but I'll come back.
Right.
In total, I think we saw, I want to say, this is why my wife should have been here because she's good with the numbers. But
hopefully we'll have both of you.
Yes. We saw probably 10 to 12 doctors.
Wow.
Different specialists trying to figure out what happens. So we see another pediatrician, and she's like, no, you need to go and see to have a hearing test done. So we go do a hearing test, and you're told the hearing is good.
Right.
Bilateral, whatever.
He's responding.
He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a number of tests. They play sounds and see if it's going to respond.
Right.
All that is good.
Yeah.
Go and see an ENT. We go see the ENT. The ENT tells us he has the adenoids have fluid buildup that are blocking his ears. So sort of like when you're in the pool under and someone is talking, so you hear muffled sounds. So the doctor is like, because speech is learnt from what you hear.
Right.
Right. So it's like, we need to remove the adenoids. Perfect. We go remove his 2, I think 2. And then, you're told, they have a chance of recurring. The doctor tells me, well, if you have a puncture today, will you wait? Will you not fix the puncture because you think you'll get another puncture?
Right.
I'm like, okay, I guess we're getting the adenoids removed. And it's like, after we remove them, speech should come because now you'll start hearing. And nothing.
Right.
So we go back to our pediatrician. We're like, this is not like, speech is not coming. And we're seeing more and more, should I say, characteristics that are not typical to his age.
Right.
The constant covering of the ears because the ear infection has gone. The adenoids have been removed. The fluid has been drained. But why does he keep blocking his ears?
Yeah.
So we were sent to see, I can't say the name, but anyway, we go and see a doctor who specializes in she's a pediatric neurologist.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
So we go see, and I think someone needs to talk to doctors. Doctors, if you're watching. Kenyan doctors, I don't know if it's a Kenyan thing or African thing.
Yeah.
We shy away from delivering bad news.
That's true.
So I'm taking you around. So this doctor is telling us, oh, he has speech delay. We're like, yeah, we know this. This is why we are here.
Right.
Oh, he has speech delay and he will need speech therapy and occupational therapy. So like, but it's speech delay. Why does he need occupational therapy?
Yeah.
So we push, like, she's just like,
you're the one who's trying to push the out of them.
We need a diagnosis. We need to call this what it is.
You're right.
So eventually my wife gets annoyed and she's just like, tell me what is going on.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, he's autistic, but he's high functioning. So I'm like, what does that mean?
Right.
She does not tell us. So that is now when we are able to name this thing. This is doctor number, I want to say 10. We start the therapy, because again, you're learning so much, you're just figuring it out. You're like, okay, fine. So we need to do speech therapy. Where do we get speech therapists from?
Before even you go there, how did you feel when you heard the word autism?
So a bit, I think at that point, I really didn't know exactly what this meant.
Yeah.
And so for me, of course, and again, being in that space now, because we're in the hospital, and you're seeing all these parents with all these kids waiting to be seen, and you're seeing all manner of, should I say, conditions. And I remember being there and praying for a Muslim family because they had a big son, and I'm looking at how he's struggling to communicate, and my heart broke for him. Like, I'm like, yeah, I know we're here for something, but I'm looking at that child and I'm just like, oh my goodness, God, would you heal that child?
Right.
I know we don't believe in the same deity and stuff like that, but I'm just like, if ever someone needed to be healed, it was that one. But at this point, it hasn't really dawned on me what is ahead.
Right.
I think my wife she was ahead of me.
Right.
I think she had already started seeing things, and then her elder sister is a special needs teacher, so I think they'd started having conversations around that. So me, I'm like, okay, autism, so okay, fine, I need to figure out what is going on.
Right.
All this time, I had been, the reason I talked about The Good Doctor, I really used to like that show. So I knew a bit about, but you see, when you watch that show, the guy does not understand cues, but he's very brilliant. He's a good doctor. He sees, of course, this is being Hollywood. He can see the body and things. Right. And I'm like, okay, if that is him, then I'm like, yay.
Yeah.
There's, so hope. I didn't feel like the world had come to an end. And more so because we were told, with speech therapy and occupational therapy, he'd be good. So at that point, I was like, okay, let's see how this journey will go. Yeah.
I can only imagine, because even us as parents, whenever, there's always this need to compare, especially when you're having your age mates having children around the same time.
Yes.
So I also found myself, and me and my husband found ourselves a lot looking at our first child and be like, why isn't he talking?
Yes.
Why isn't he moving a certain way? How come this child is doing things faster?
You can't help
always that fear.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, and I find also my friends doing the same thing. They're like, should I get my child checked? What's happening? So I think there's a bit of that awareness.
Yes.
But it's that confirmation that's always the scary part.
Yes, absolutely.
So how is it? You already have heard the news, you're going through, okay, we need to do this, that, and the other. How is it now dealing with it emotionally when now you are in the presence of your child?
As a parent, as soon as you get, you're going to become a parent, your mind has gone like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopes and dreams and things that you expect, that you want your child to be able to do, to achieve. And this is my first son, my only son. Right. So, I have all these dreams that I have for him.
Yeah.
And so now I'm asking myself, will we be able to do the things that I thought as a father, I'll be able to do with a son? And like you're saying, because I have friends who have sons. In fact, we were pregnant. We were pregnant more or less the same time with some friends of ours.
Yeah.
And so you see the way the kids are progressing. And you're like, these were supposed to be friends. But now because he cannot socialize, you're like, okay, so who will be his friends?
Right.
If, God forbid, I die today, who's going to look after him? Because he literally needs someone to be with him 24/7. And so I'm looking at him. It's called Geno, by the way. Geno in Luo means hope.
Wow.
And so I'm looking at Geno and I'm like, how first of all, how do I communicate to you what's going on?
Right.
Because he's looking, him is just, his life is going on.
Yeah.
He's quote unquote in his own world. So I think emotionally it was really, especially now when you realize the heaviness of the news that you have received, you're like, yo, this is going to be hard.
Right.
This is going to be very hard.
Yeah. Because, I found out last year the likeliness of having a child with autism, the likeliness is, the gap is it's closing in.
Yeah.
And now you're having 1 in 5 parents.
Wow.
I
didn't even know that statistic.
That is the statistic right now.
Yeah.
And again, there are a lot of emotions that come with it.
Yeah.
That even we don't begin to understand.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people don't also understand, a child can change at any point.
Yeah.
It's not actually because you skipped it at birth that it cannot happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen to a child. And sometimes that stability needs to be there. So speaking of stability, how did you and your wife now tackle it together?
I think it's that one where everyone is in their own space for a while because you're dealing and there's grief. Yes, because you definitely know this, unless it's an intervention of God, this is it. And first, how do we even communicate it to his siblings?
Right.
He has a twin sister and an older sister, but they're still very young. They can't really understand why can't he talk? Even like fine motor skills are not there.
Yeah.
Potty training is something that now you're just like, okay, how long are we going to have diapers? And things like that. School. Yeah. Because they had started going to, at some point we started taking them to play group. And I think having faith helps. And I think that having faith and having a supporting community, your immediate family and even friends as well. I think those, as we were sharing now and people starting to understand, I think they really carried us.
Right. So you didn't shy away from sharing?
No.
It's usually very hard for a lot of people.
It is, but you're like, okay, yes, initially you might feel shame, but you're like, it's, for lack of a better word, it's an act of God. Like, and in fact, even before I get to that, at first, because when you now go to see the doctor, the questions they ask are very intrusive and almost like they're trying to connect, especially around the pregnancy. If my wife did something to bring this, but we're like, they're twins.
So why would it?
If the environment, the conditions were almost identical. Granted, they were on their own sacks. I think. Yeah, they're not because they're not identical. So they're
fraternal.
Yeah, they're fraternal. So everyone had their own environment.
Right.
But the source is one.
Right.
Is the mother.
Yes.
But you ask, and I remember,
a doctor was asking you these questions.
Yeah,
they
ask you these questions. They're like, oh, tell us about the pregnancy. Tell us about the birth. Right. At what point, what week did you give birth? So as they're asking, I know there's probably a method to that madness. But you sitting there listening, you're like, are you trying to say I caused this? Right. And so you get to the place where you question yourself a lot. So you ask yourself, is it hereditary? Did I carry it? Is she a carrier?
Right.
If we're to get another child, what are the odds of this recurring? When, if God blesses him with a family, what are the odds of him? So there was a lot of questioning. But I think we got to a place of just saying, you know what, God, this is where we are. It really sucks.
Right.
And again, having faith and a genuine faith allows you to tell God how you feel without shying away from, but it was really gut wrenching when we're now having these conversations of how does the future look, for him.
Right.
So it was really hard, but you're like, you know what? We are grown-ups. You put your big boy pants and big girl undies or pants, and you're like, you know what? This is what we have.
Right.
We're not going to treat him any different. And we just do life.
Right.
Yeah.
As much as maybe I'm not in your shoes, I have been there at one point or another, but dealing with something else. So like even all the things you're saying just playing out in my mind, growing up in certain situations. Because as much as it might not be direct, we deal with it in one way or another.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not in autism, it's in epilepsy, it presents itself in a different way. And sometimes there needs to be that sense of understanding.
Yeah.
And was that something that you is that something you're still dealing with your children? Because the more I talk to parents, the more they're like, there's that delicate balance between trying to help your other children lead a somewhat normal life, while at the same time trying to make them understand what your son is going through. How do you navigate, or are you still learning?
So it's a learning. I think it's just a continuous learning curve. Yeah, but we've tried as best as we can to communicate to his sisters what is going on.
Great.
And that has allowed them not to treat him any different, not to see him any different. And even when their friends come and they, they're very quick to explain at their own language, because one is 10, the other one is 6. And they're able to help their friends understand. He just can't speak, and he needs someone to look out for him. So like, if he goes, because sometimes he'll wander out, and the probably the help is not there. You'll see one of the kids will be like, oh, Geno is outside. So they either come and tell us or bring him, because they know he does not understand simple things like safety.
Right.
So ataenda kwa nyumba ya jirani, and you just wander away sometimes. So we also having, and this I have to commend where we live, we have a sort of understanding community.
Right.
They might not fully understand, and then we also have a number of other kids who are on a spectrum of sorts.
Right.
And like I told you earlier, once you know, you can quickly spot. You're like, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. But back to the question you're asking about how to strike that balance. I think for us, I honestly don't think we've had like a conversation on how we're going to do it, but we just have that understanding that, you know what, yes, he will have special needs,
right?
But you also have to bring the other siblings on board, because they can't feel like he is getting special treatment, and they are not. So there are things that we will ensure, like discipline is discipline. We will ensure that discipline is done age appropriate and all those things.
Right.
If he does something that it requires discipline, he will get it, by the way. We don't shy away from that. But we also have to understand that his level of understanding will not be at the same level as his twin sister, for instance. So obviously, then you have to appeal to that level of understanding. But it's just making sure the small things. If they're watching something, is everyone getting the fair share of screen time?
Right.
Without feeling like, oh, this one is getting too much, this one is getting too little.
Right.
If we're going to do something fun, if we're buying something, like just making it, I think for us, it's making it as equitable as is possible given the circumstances.
Right.
But we also let the girls know that, listen, your brother will always need an extra level of care,
right,
that you don't need.
Right.
So sometimes, it might feel like we're being, we're treating it like we're taking him like a special person, but it's just because he will not move at the pace that they're moving in.
Exactly.
So
even that thing of trying to make them understand that they're not exactly responsible for him, because you do walk around and find some parents who leave their children in the care of other children. Anything happens, they make them responsible. And again, some of these are also things that have played also in a part in our lives. how have you managed that? Where that, yes, look out for your brother, but
Yes.
doesn't mean that I'm making
He's
you
not-
their parent.
Yes,
Your parent,
yes,
the,
exactly.
you parent them. You know.
Yeah. That's a very good question because the assumption is that because you guys are they're called neurotypical. He's called neurodiverse. So because they're neurotypical, it is the quote unquote the burden to look out for their brother.
Right.
Like remember, the eldest is just 10. Then the twin is his age mate, you know, and he's bigger even in bodies than the smallest, than the younger sister.
Yeah.
So yes, look out for him, but please play. Do be you.
Right.
Like it would be so unfortunate, and you rightly say it, because there are parents who now load the burden of taking care of a child on the spectrum or a child with special needs to the other siblings. And so the siblings can grow up resenting this child because they're kids. Their brain is not fully developed. They don't understand why they have to do the things that they're being asked to do. So we ensure that that pressure is not on them. Yes, once, the times when I'll ask them, take your brother for a walk. Like sometimes, like he really loves the outdoors.
Right.
But you see, he cannot be out by himself. So someone has to go. So if the nanny is busy or I'm working because I work from home, I'll be like, guys, like now that they're on holiday, guys, please take him for a walk to the gate. It's a bit of a distance to the gate. Come back, at least your energy in the knee. Then go back and play.
Right.
You know, but I definitely do not load that on them because they're kids.
Right.
And you have to allow kids to be kids. But they play. I love that they're good friends, the three of them. He's not very good at initiating play, but he wants to play.
Right.
Like he wants to be chased and whatnot. And they will indulge him as long as they can. But kids also have a short attention span.
That's true.
When that runs out, by then I'm like, you've done a good job. Now go play
That's
with your
amazing.
friends. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that you assure them in every which way you can.
Yeah.
But again, I'm sure it can't be easy.
No, it's not.
And sometimes offloading the burden can sometimes be even instinct more than it is even natural.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like, can't you see? Why can't you?
Exactly.
Your brother is fasting and I'm on a call.
Busy.
Take him out. Like,
Right.
No.
Yeah.
That's not their job.
Now, when it comes to society, and this is something also we face in our neighborhoods, there are families that are not understanding. Even parents.
Yes.
They use slurs. They disparage. I remember in my neighborhood, a parent brought it out that her child was being bullied. It's a child who has grown up in the neighborhood and is okay with going out, is okay with mixing with others. Yeah. But there's some kids probably who didn't grow up with him and probably don't tend to understand. And they severely bullied this child. Yeah. And it got to the point where the parent had to organize like a Zoom meeting just to create better understanding. But it was fantastic because she did it now for the rest of Africa. So there are people who are coming in from Nigeria, from Morocco. And I wish there was more of this. A big shout out to Margot. You're doing a fantastic job. But the aspect of society, I love the fact that you said that your community is understanding. Yeah. But what would you wish more of? Because there's also the aspect of hospitals. Hospitals in 2026 don't understand how. Yes. And there's the aspect of the schools. There's the aspect of even your neighborhood kiosk. Yes. What would you wish for where have you seen it come from since you had your child? Yeah. But what would you wish better for?
Yes. So you see, even me as a person, like I've known about autism, but kombali, So sometimes it's pure ignorance, right? And it's not even coming from a bad place. But I think what I would wish for is for people to extend grace. It's just as simple as that. Because I remember, same, even before my son was born, there's a girl in our estate who you could clearly tell she has special needs. There's actually 2 of them. And my daughter would play with them. And sometimes, because at that time she was pretty young, so she didn't really understand. So even her, she'd be like, why can't you? So we're like, some people just take time. But we didn't really know what was going on with these 2 girls, but you could tell something was off. So I think just having the grace and just, if you see someone is different, there's a reason why they're being different.
Right.
Because we are very quick to judge either this child is ill-behaved, the parents are not doing this. Because let me tell you, like when my son is throwing a tantrum, even you in the next room will be like, hey, guys, can you rein in this child?
Yes.
Because the meltdowns sometimes are real.
Yeah.
And more so before we learned how to regulate and how to calm him down and things like that. And sometimes it's even with all the tools that we have, because he can't speak.
Right.
So the frustration builds up and he will have a meltdown. He will get out of the house and run and bang doors and things like that. So grace is very important. Having just understanding, but also I like what you've said about your friend. I have a neighbor of mine who I think he works in this space of mental health and wellness.
Right.
And so he even I didn't even know World Autism Day, so he shared resources on our estate WhatsApp group, and that really helped people to understand. And he was just trying to, because we've been having conversations with him, he's like, you know what, we need to have an inclusivity, and an inclusive environment.
Right.
So how do you do that? Empowering people by giving them information. Because you see, we want the inclusiveness, but some people will not go out of their way because it's not in the rear view mirror, front view mirror. Like, your children are okay, wanaenda shuleni, that they're independent. Then you see this one who's, he's 6. Why can't he talk?
Right.
Why is he behaving this way?
Yeah.
So you assume that there's something wrong. And unfortunately, you'd hear, like you're saying, the slurs. Thankfully, I've not heard it, but I've heard people saying, is that child a retard? Talk about other people. Wow. And I'm like, you would not want that on your worst enemy. So maybe also, and in like you're saying, in 2026, there's a lot more information out there.
Right.
You really don't need to dig deep to look for it.
Right.
But it is now for us having spaces like this where we can have a conversation so that someone can actually listen and say, okay, so this is what this means. When you see a child, behaving in a certain way, we all judge. I've judged people. You're at a supermarket, na unaona mtoto ameenda ameangusha kila kitu. There's those ones that are just being a brat.
Right.
Okay. But once you have learned the cues, you are able to tell. And like I told you, like my wife and I would just see a child and like, that one is one of ours.
Right.
And you actually celebrate it. You're like, you're not wishing to see more. But when you see parents with their kids just doing life, regardless of the... And I think that is also the thing, because a long time ago, I think we used to hide. People used to hide the kids with special needs. I mean, you've seen stories in the news where a child is shackled in the house simply because...
Till today.
Yes, is neurodiverse.
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't know the gifting that this child has. Like I told you, mine is extremely number smart. He can recognize numbers. Like, back to the comparison thing, if you compare him to his twin sister, when it comes to numbers, he's way ahead. He's way ahead. He can't say it, but if you give him a series of numbers, jumble them up however which way, he'll be able to arrange them in perfect order. And if one is missing, by the way, hamtasonga until he gets it in the perfect order. So long and short answer, just grace, extend grace. Yeah.
What would you say have been the most helpful resources you've come across? Because there could be somebody watching and they probably don't have, and they're not equipped with the information that you have. What would you say maybe it's 1 or 2 resources that has truly helped you in the journey? Yeah,
so there are support groups that are there. There's one called Different DSTK. I forget the full meaning, but it's just about differently abled support group.
Right.
And this one now covers all levels of disability, and it's actually registered, and in there people share. People share a lot. There's another one called Inclusive Education that was started by this guy. He runs this. He's a very brilliant guy. The name disappears, but he started a school just up in Lavington,
right?
And they cater to they try and have like an inclusive school,
right?
So there's that. There's a ministry. I go to Nairobi Chapel. There's a ministry called NZ, and NZ is about kids with different disabilities as well.
Right.
And there's a lot resources online. There's autism parenting a group on, like, if you just type autism
right
support group,
right,
you will find so many resources. And please don't do this by yourself. I think that isolation can really eat at you because you're thinking it's just me, right. Us guys are doomed. No, there's a very big society out there, and the government more and more is becoming is bringing a lot of these disabilities that were initially not there. Like I was telling you before, it was you're blind, you're lame,
right.
you're deaf, you're mute. Those are the ones.
Right.
You hear about things like cerebral palsy, for instance. That's a whole different. There's ADHD, for instance, and so there's a huge spectrum, and very many kids on those. And like I'm telling you, if the people watching would just go and do an autism test, you will find at some level you're at a spectrum. You might be very low.
Right.
So you can do away with life. You can get away with it. Sorry.
Right.
Yes, but there are very many of us who have bits and bobs.
Yeah.
And it will give you, like, if you look back at some of your friends, you're like, that explains why so and so is socially awkward.
Yes, that's
He
true.
just doesn't understand. And most of these extremely smart, like savant type people.
Yeah.
Chances are that they're on the spectrum.
That is very true. Even sometimes you look at yourself and like, okay, they don't consider, do have ADHD. There's something wrong, because it's true. There are aspects that we carry that we just have never really diagnosed.
Exactly.
And probably that's why I like where the world is at right now. It probably is not the most understanding, but the diagnosis comes a little bit more easier than it was
Yes, the information is out there.
Yeah, big shout out also to Sylvia Mochabu, who does Andy Speaks. She does a fantastic job as well in bringing, especially when it comes to advocacy work. And like you said, the resources are there. Even as we're in the kids space. Yeah. And we're learning day by day how to make it inclusive. We say it, but now we're trying to act it more, and we're now trying to bring in even people, minders who are dealing more with children who are on the spectrum or neurodivergent. But there's still a lot to learn. That's why I like having these conversations, because I get to pick up bits and pieces, so I can apply it also in life.
Absolutely.
Now, there's also a society as well for autism as well. I think we covered the people who run it. We covered that last week. Yeah. So when it comes to your own support, or what you've seen has helped you in terms of support, like you said, the ones you've gotten. What do you feel as a parent with a child living with autism? What kind of support do you think that parents truly need?
So that's a think about it type of question.
Right.
The support you need, I think, first, just access to therapy, affordable therapy.
Right.
Speech therapy, for instance, is extremely expensive. Same goes for occupational therapy. And these are the lifelines of your autistic child or other kids living with this on the spectrum. And so I know we have institutions like KISE, for instance, that allow for parents, especially to bring in special equipment, tax-free or at a lower tax rate.
Right.
But you see, that's just on the equipment.
Yeah.
And again, I don't expect, typical Sirikalis idea type of thing. But I think we need more affordable access to these things, because if you don't have insurance, for instance, I don't know about SHA and the coverage. I think probably you can get that from certain institutes.
Right.
But the problem then is there's a long line. So, sort of like dialysis, where it's affordable.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone is there, rightly so, because you want to spread whatever you have as far as you can. So I think that is and then also just having accredited people. The way you'll find sometimes randomly, let's say Institute of Engineers, they've listed all engineers, like these are the engineers that are there. I think we need that, because in this world, you meet with quacks. Let me tell you, Myra, we have met people who claim, so there's this therapy called ABA therapy.
Okay.
It is extremely expensive, extremely, it's hard to get.
Right.
So I remember when we went to see Dr. number 12. This is not the one she ran a test for us. I can't give her name. She's called Dr. Susan Wamithi. She's very good. She's at Aga Khan. She runs. She's like me. I follow data.
Right. So
this thing of being told, and she was saying this about her colleague in the same space. It's like, how are they using these terminologies? So she ran a test, and then now she tells you the levels that your child is at and what the interventions that you need to. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So you always want to come down to 1.
Right.
1 is now someone who can, now they quote unquote high functioning. So we tell Dr. Wamithi, we want to, there's an ABA therapist. She's like, who is this person? Quickly goes to the database. She's like, no, I know the only X number of ABA therapists.
Wow.
And this person is not there. So this one is a quack. But you see, because you're working in this space, you know very well that parents are desperate.
Yeah.
So you're basically a snake oil merchant,
right,
taking advantage of people who are already in a very
vulnerable space.
Yes, and even therapists. Someone tells you they're the speech therapist, but you're like, but no, you're not.
Yeah.
So I think that if that information was available somewhere, it could be. I'm not sure. But if it's available and it can be shared amongst these support groups, I think it's very important, because what we also do sometimes, I'm looking for so and so someone will give you a contact, and based on your recommendation, I'll just take it. But sometimes this is a quack.
That's true.
They're just good at their quackiness.
Right.
So you just use them, but they're really, So I remember when we talked to her, and she just told us, no, guys. And again, she's very approachable. She's like, if you have any question, come to me first.
Yeah.
Don't go looking for your own solutions, which, typically sometimes we do. So for me, I think that kind of support is very important. And, like I was saying, now things, when you think about other levels of the spectrum, like CP, cerebral palsy, for instance, the needs are they're very deep.
Right.
And so you have to do therapy all the time, because these kids can't chew by themselves, they can't eat. Sometimes even breathing is a challenge because the muscles are not working the way they're supposed to work. So when you're incurring this and the costs are heavy, simple things like just mobility, having access to wheelchairs and ramps that are actually built for, like I've seen some ramps, it is this steep, like someone was just checking a box.
Right.
Gava says you must have a ramp.
Yes.
They're like, even me as a well-abled person, I'm struggling to pander that ramp. You expect someone on a wheelchair by themselves to do this. Public transport. How do you get onto a matatu? We've seen videos of matatu touts carrying people with wheelchairs and putting them there. That, unfortunately, is the exception, not the norm. So how do you make public transport accessible to people with disabilities? How do you cross the road as a blind person?
Right.
You need to have the whatever that tells you to walk.
Right.
Sasa zebra crossing tayari ni shida.
Yes.
Using the lights ni shida. Now imagine you're blind, you want to cross the road. You know, so there's a lot that we still need to do, and you know, yes, we have it's called NCPB, National Council of People with Disabilities, but I think they're really underempowered.
Right.
If I can use that phrase. So having an inclusive mindset, even simple things like people living with albinism.
Right.
How do you get a sunscreen, for instance, that will cover you?
That's affordable.
Yes, that's affordable because it's expensive. Yeah. Those things, diapers, for instance. I told you, we let me tell you, when you stop using diapers, your budget, your line item, by the way, it drops
for any parents.
So imagine for someone whose child has not potty trained.
Yes.
10, 12 years later.
Yeah.
Now you're pushing them to adult diapers. Those things are expensive.
They are.
How do we get the government when they're coming in, they said they're going to remove taxes on those things. Mr. President, you have not done that. It is unfortunate. That is a low-hanging fruit.
To be that and pads are still being taxed.
Yeah. That's still that kuna women's rep when you're let's not get into politics.
That's a story for another day. Absolutely. No, but I hear what you're saying because yes, adult diapers, I think for a 10-pack is like 3K or something like that.
Who has that budget?
Yeah.
Who has that budget?
And you have to decide between feeding somebody and getting them what the other things
now
that
your
they need.
10-pack, you can finish it in 2 days.
Right.
Depending on the metabolism of the person using them.
Right. No, you have pointed out a lot.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond even just people living on the spectrum. It's just it's a wide conversation that needs a lot of looking. And these are things that are affordable, can be worked on, but people just don't want to do it.
Because it's not a priority. Unfortunately, it's not a priority for them.
Now, having had all of this, what would you say has been the reflection on your journey as it is now? You're still young at it, but what has been your reflection? And when you look at your children today, what would you say you want them to know the most about life? Yeah.
The reflection, I remember even as a young person, you know those things, those silent prayers you make. You're like, "Hey God, I hope I never get a child who has," because you just know how hard life.
Right.
Yeah. Then God is like, yeah. I don't know if he says hold my beer, but whatever it tells. Hold it. Let me
hold
show
my
you.
Holy water.
But as I've sat down, because you sit down in your quiet times, and you think about life, and number one, there's nothing I could have done differently,
right? So
removing that self-blame, self-pity, you remove that, and just looking at how blessed we are, because like I've told you, we are doing, we're doing life, and we've tried to make it as simple and easy as we possibly could. And God has given us a supporting family members, friends, neighborhood as well. And so for me, I'm like, you know what? No one chooses how the children are going to come out. Right. Unless you are just reckless and you did things when you're pregnant and stuff like that. There are those unfortunate events. But when you have this and you come to peace with it, because you have to get to a place where, and it's like the stages of grief. Right. When you get to acceptance. Yeah. You engage the gear for drive. Like, let's go. I'm going to do what I can to make sure that he has the best life any child could get. Right. And trying to make his life as simple and as enjoyable as possible, and not treating him any different than his siblings. Right. So that's what I was telling you. For us, he has food aversions, but we have tried to reduce. Hakuna special diet kwa nyumba. Nothing like that. There are snacks that, like my son, anyone who's looking for someone to advertise crisps for them, holla at me. Right. The way he eats his crisps, by the way, even you're just like, give me some of that.
Right.
Like he really, he savors it, you know. But we have tried our best to ensure that they don't, there's no, you don't feel any different. So the reflection for me is for, you know what? This is how life is.
Right.
This is where we are at. We are on drive. We will do life as best as we could. Like I told you, we're on holiday, and you spot someone else with a child on the spectrum, and you exchange those glancing looks, and you have a quick banter.
Right.
And that encouragement is really important, you know, because I'm sharing my story, you're sharing your story. I'm able to, like, now the parent we met at the coast, you know, she has 2 sons, both on the spectrum.
Right.
They're way older than ours. So we look and we're like, okay, we can get there.
Right.
And the kids are pretty independent, doing their lives. So I think just allowing life to take its course.
Right.
Doing what you must to help. So like the therapy, school, or we didn't talk about school, but yeah, so we had to pull him from, because initially they were all in the same school, but then we realized that he wasn't being educated at his level.
Right.
So then we took him to, can I put a shameless plug, to Tuatunze. Nyokabi, you're doing an amazing job. And we have seen him grow in leaps and bounds.
Right.
Like, and sometimes we fail to notice until people who probably have not seen him in a gap of time, and they're like, oh my goodness, he can do this, he can do this, he can do this, he can do this, you know.
Yeah.
So that's very important. There's a second question you asked that has skipped my mind. You asked me about reflection, and then the second one was something about the children.
Yes. What would you want them to learn about life as they continue to grow?
I think for them, you know, it's sometimes I feel bad for them because they've been thrusted into a world that they did not choose, and they now having a brother who has special needs. Sometimes the pressure, you know, is there on them, but also sometimes I feel like they feel like they need to overcompensate, especially amongst their peers. You know, he doesn't do this because he's this, but we tell them, you know what? There's a scripture that says that I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
And then we add our part in the image of God. So like he bears the image of God. You all bear the image of God. And so there is nothing wrong with your brother, and you should never feel like you have to, quote unquote, cover him in that way, because sometimes, you know, he'll be in the loo and he's done his business, and he just comes half naked, and then, you know, that. But we're trying to normalize these things as much as possible, so that they don't feel embarrassed, because again, you're a child.
Yes.
Why are you carrying that shame? It's not your burden to bear. It's not even our burden to bear. He's a child of God.
Right.
By the time he was brought into this world, God knew this is a life you're going to live, but my grace is also there for you guys. Yes. So it's to let them, like, I don't want to rob them of their childhood. I think, so I'm not raising mini parents.
Right.
Yes, or mini adults.
Yes.
They're children until they become adults.
Right.
And so just having their lives, or making their lives as easy as is possible, and not having them feel like they need to cover or feel ashamed of their brother.
I love that. That is so amazing. Yeah. Again, I think all of us can relate in one way or another, because we come across it. I love how you're taking it on as a parent. Yeah. So this has been such an enlightening conversation. Thank you so much, Ezekiel, for being here with us and for being vulnerable and open. Thank you so much. What would be your parting shots to a parent watching right now?
Yeah. If your child is on the spectrum, you're not alone. We are out there. We are amongst you.
Yes.
You know, we are living. We're thriving as well. So do not feel shame, because like you've not done anything to, quote unquote, deserve this.
Right.
And the other thing that you have to think is that out of all these people, God saw that you are able to handle this child.
Yes.
So, we're special. Pat yourself on the back, because not everyone can. That's the honest truth. Of course, I wouldn't want anyone you don't wish it on someone, on anyone. But when you have been selected to take care of this, because children are a gift. It's not some children, it's not most children. Children are a gift.
Yes.
So, as with any gift, you get your gift, you embrace it. You're happy to have this gift. You're not alone.
Right.
But there are resources. Look, just Google anything to do with autism. Find the resources. Plug yourself into a community that can help. Like I said, the easiest one I would direct you to is NZ at Nairobi Chapel. If you go to nairobichapel.org, I think you'll find that information there. Pastor Bella is doing a very good job. She's a children's pastor there, and she's created such an amazing community for parents to, and you have a lot of resources as well that can help. So please do not feel alone. Give yourself grace. You will fail, you will make mistakes as with everyone else.
Right.
Every parent, even, with my other children, we make mistakes. So give yourself grace when you make mistakes. There's this pressure of, you must do early intervention. If you didn't know early, you didn't know early. That's it. So when you found out, that's when you found out. Now deal with it. Figure out how to make up for lost time if there's lost time, but also just give yourself some grace. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ezekiel. This has, again, been so enlightening. I'm hoping that we can continue this. It's not just a one-time conversation, it's a continuous conversation because the world is evolving and everyone is evolving with
Absolutely.
So, guys, thank you so much for being with us. Ezekiel, thank you again.
Karibu.
I think we'll put this out in a segment as its own, just this conversation. So we'll be sharing it on YouTube in just a bit. This has been Wellness Wednesday. We'll continue this conversation until the end of the month, but it will not stick to just this month. It will be continuous. So we hope that you've learned a little bit more and gained a little bit more of understanding as well as grace. Have a fantastic day ahead, guys. Up next, we do have Sustainability Connect with Myra Maganjo, and we'll be having Riding Shotgun with DJ Hitch later on this afternoon. Enjoy great music and great conversations right here on Icon Radio. Number one is Team and Plug. I've been your girl, Myra Maloba, and signing out is
Ezekiel Olande. Catch you on Money Mondays.
There we go.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's get the party started. See you at the bar, you was hardly talking. That's when I knew that your heart was scarring. Friends to lovers need a part to star in. Like, wait, babe, let me ask your pardon. This ain't Gucci, this is Prada, darling. If you want something, you can ask me, darling. And you started laughing, cause you think I'm joking. But looking in your eyes, that's the best thing. Bright lights giving you the red skin. You was in a bad mood when we stepped in. Got you checked out before we even checked in. On the phone, you gon' vent to your best friend. The one who gave me the lecture. But I ain't gon' sweat you, babe, I'm a lecturer. Catch up with your boy, undress you. Let me tell you why I'm a blessing.
Hold me close, don't tell me goodnight. Are you down and get me? Tell me when you're ready. I'm ready.
We can get into it, and we can get intimate. The shower when you singing it, better than Beyonce. I like the sound of fiance. You know it's got a little ring to it, and really when I think of it, growing up I didn't ever see marriages. No weddings, no horse, no carriages. I wanna do things different and change the narrative. God knows you are a wild child, beautiful child. I need your help. Looking like like you come from the 90s by yourself. My mum's 61 and her favourite line to tell her son is, sometimes she wished that she had a girl. I wanna take us back to a time, back to a trip. You had that white wine that I never got to sip, and dinner wasn't ruined cause you never got the pick. I know that everybody tell me that I'm sick cause
It's the way my mind falling away in my heart. I know you feel the same way. You're with me, you know I'm all you need. You're where I wanna be, my darling. Can't you see? I love being you, never let me go. Being you, I tell you 2 times. Being you, never let me go. Being you, tell me 2 times. Being you, never let me go. Being you, tell me 2 times. Being you, never let me go. Being you, tell me 2
I
times.
said lean with it, rock with it. Your finger, I could put a rock in it. Finger, I could put a rock in it. Banker, they gon' put a block in it. Said rock with it, bounce with it. The left wrist, I could put my house in it. You wanna bet, babe, I could put my house in it. Paper, I could put my spouse in it. I said shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, 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 yeah. 5'9", brown eyes, and she in the shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, 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 yeah. 5'9", brown eyes, in the shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, 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 yeah. 5'9", brown eyes, and she in shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, 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 yeah. 5'9", brown eyes.
I dedicate this song to recession, depression, and unemployment. This song's for you.
Today's a new day, but there is no sunshine. Nothing but clouds, and it's dark in my heart, and it feels like a cold night. Today's a new day, but where are my blue skies? Where is the love and the joy that you promised me? Tell me it's alright.
I'll be honest with you.
I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain fell from heaven like a shower now.
When I think how much better I'm gonna be when this is over.
I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while,
What you do?
I smile.
Come on and
Smile.